What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's full-time reaction to Celtic 1, Shakhtar 1 here at Celtic Park. I've got Stuart and Callum with me to go over it. Callum, probably another disappointing outcome. I think it was similar to the game in Warsaw tonight. Felt like there was much more in it for us, but we just couldn't make it pay.
I'm going to disagree with you straight off the bat, which isn't surprising. I thought Shakhtar were the better side, and a much better side than we were tonight. I thought we looked...
I don't know about that, man.
Mate, I thought we looked an average championship side at best. Some of the stuff we were doing tonight was horrendous. O'Reilly, God bless him, but he can't play a sitter role. It's not, and you spoke about it recently. He's not got the legs. He's not got the brain. He's a much better person on the half turn. He's not a person that will feed you the ball and ping passes. What Scott Brown's done, what Callum McGregor does in the years gone by. You're never going to win a game with him in the sitting role in Europe. It's not going to happen at this level. For me, Hatate was miles off it. Every ball was a ball to Shakhtar. Here, have it. Go and counter us constantly.
He hit his one good pass.
Mate, I just thought Shakhtar took the sting out of the game very well. They controlled it, and then as soon as we got it back, it was like, Shakhtar, have it again. Go and have it again.
See, I think the second half, that characterised the second half. I thought in the first half, they offered like next to nothing. Again, similar to the game in Warsaw. I know they scored the first half in Warsaw, but they didn't create much at all. I know they end up having 3 good chances tonight, and that's like all they create, but they're very clinical in the break, and obviously through Mudryk, who was brilliant again. They're so dangerous in transition, Stuart. But again, I thought for us tonight, we had a lot of the ball, and we had chances, don't get me wrong, but I just felt we were lacking, and Callum is right in what he's saying. I can understand where he's coming from in some ways, because I think a lot of the individual performances across the pitch were way below where they need to be at this level.
I know, it's absolutely right. It comes down to, like, fine margins, decision making, right? Decision making for Celtic tonight was abominably bad, way too often. However, I think the template is there that you see what they're trying to do. Right, they're trying to build a team. So in the first half, there was loads of instances where they would kind of pass it about, and then it would go in quickly to someone, and they'd try and tuck it round the corner to someone cutting in on the inside. Didn't come off at all, right? And the goal came for just putting a ball across and it's sitting nicely, and your man got the goal, Callum. But I think tonight the problem for Celtic is you can see how much of a work in progress they are. But the one kind of crumb of solace I'm taking from it is that was a really bad performance for Celtic tonight, and we were still the team that was trying to instigate. So if you look at Shakhtar, right, if they lose Mudryk, which they're going to, right, because he is a world-class operator, he'll go to a top-tier club and belong right away, right? Whereas we have loads of players that are a work in progress, that are part of something that is going to grow and going to move on. So what I'm taking is just trying to cheer myself up, given the fact that we've just crashed out of Europe, is that Celtic are building something incrementally, and it's dependent more on the whole rather than individuals alone.
See, just to jump in there, Paul, so I can accept that against Real Madrid and even Leipzig's, because they spend way more. Shakhtar don't spend more than us. Their budget's smaller than ours. How are we not beating Shakhtar at Celtic Park? Now that record of that's now, it would have been 8 losses if we lost the game. I know we've drawn the game. I can accept, as I say, I can accept that, but not tonight. And especially how we played in Poland against them. I wasn't expecting 2 or 3, right? But I was expecting a comfortable, strong performance. I thought that was our worst performance, even though we got the best result. I know that sounds stupid in a sense, but Madrid performance was night and day, but we lost because of the quality in the end. Shakhtar don't have the same quality, and I just felt it was a stalemate. It was 2 teams that were Europa League worthy, and that's where Shakhtar are and we aren't.
As I say, I think individually, see guys like Juranovic, Hatate, O'Reilly, Abada, they've all played much better than that for most of this season. Kyogo as well, really struggling for confidence. I think if they'd played anywhere near the way they played on even other match days, we might have won it tonight. But I just think they were below individually and collectively. I suppose you could say we were just below where we need to be tonight to win at this level. But that's the challenge for these players, because we watch them week in and week out domestically, and we think they're really good. They're brilliant players at the level domestically for Celtic. But the challenge is, can they grow? Can they develop? And can they come back next season, hopefully in this competition, and be better?
So that comes down to so many things. We could be here all night, Paul, honestly, because that comes down to, for example, we're playing Livingston at the weekend. Look at how they're going to play. So how do you prepare for a Champions League match when you're coming up against absolute dross that's going to completely defend, not show anything, and try? It's just not great. So, and you're playing on hard pitches, etc., etc. So they things are huge that we could talk about. But as I said, Celtic need to get to a level in Europe where they can be comfortable. So, for example, we need to go into Livingston and play it as if we're playing Shakhtar again and try and get it down. We can't have 20 minutes where it's slow and we're taking our time and we get 1-0 up. Batter teams get into that rhythm. Like Ajax is a great model. In the Eredivisie, they smash teams all the time. And when they go to Europe, it's not that next jump up. They're used to that level where they can try and continue. I know this year's not been great for them. But that's the club model we need to follow, because we spend probably just a bit smaller than what Ajax do. But we need to get that model. Benfica tonight, Benfica have beat Juventus home and away. Benfica, they're not a bigger club than us. We took jaw off them.
Juventus are no great shakes in it right now.
I get that, but do you think we beat Juventus? Because I don't.
Well,
Right, so
possibly
see
not.
the key word there, Callum, is rhythm. If you look at us domestically, we have lost that rhythm that we started the season with.
We've picked it back up last week or two.
Somewhat, but it's no clicking the way that it did at the start of the season, because we came out the gate, I thought, and we were playing our very best football. What I think you're seeing from Celtic in the Champions League is, and I mean, we've said it before, the Real Madrid game, you score first, and it's chances. It's decision making and it's taking chances. Those are the two key things that have gone wrong in this group. And there is a different universe where we come out of that opening 2 games with 4 points. If we do that, the whole complexion of the group is different. I'm not trying to make excuses. Like, Shakhtar play Leipzig, Tedesco's Leipzig, right? We've no had that pleasure
Luxury.
because they were more beatable than Marco Rosa's one. So I look at what's happening here and I think this is our first step onto this stage. But what I see for this Celtic team is I see a team that is trying to play the way that you need to play in Europe. We're not there yet. We're quite a bit off it, as we know. My scarf falling down just...
See that, right, just quickly, is that, so as I said, I accept that. To get to this level is one thing, to play at it is another, right? But against top teams, I understand that you're going to get blown away by magic, right, and wonderful talent. And tonight, the Mudryk goal's outstanding, right? It's right behind it, and it's a screamer of a goal. But I'm a bit deflated, because progress to me was, fair dues, Madrid are going to come here and they're probably going to beat us. That's the reality. Shakhtar shouldn't be coming here and getting points. That's the reality also. And that's where I think if we win tonight, I say, actually, it's a very good group, because we showed in glimpses that we were going forward, and against the better sides, it was close. Real Madrid was a close game, but their quality outshone us. Tonight, I'm a little bit deflated, because we never done that at this level. We should be beating Shakhtar.
But they are quite streetwise. That's the thing. Like, Shakhtar are one of those teams that they're good at the ugly stuff. A key thing for me was they had 3 kind of defensive linchpins. They had 2 centre backs and Stepanenko screening in front of the back 4. All 3 of those players took yellow cards tonight when their team needed them to. Yeah. Celtic don't do that. They let teams turn and they let them get out in transition. And I think there's got to be a time where Celtic stop with this idealism and pulling your opponent up, and actually let's be a wee bit more dirty and let's play a bit of that, so we can do the good football, but I think we need to have that nasty bit, because good winning teams have that nasty bit.
I think what happened tonight was, particularly in the second half, was we were very open midfield. It was an attacking lineup, Callum. We had Haksabanovic, Abada, Kyogo, Giakoumakis, and the 2 midfielders are O'Reilly and Hatate, whose best football is looking forward and playing forward. And we ended up very open in midfield, but I think, again, something that we've not quite managed to get right is the intensity and how we press in Europe. And again, because that's more difficult as well.
Aye.
We've talked about the difficulty of scoring goals and creating chances and getting the decision making right in the final third, but it's also more difficult to press teams because they're better on the ball and they're better at playing through you. And we've seen that tonight, and Shakhtar could have won the game, because I think that's the worst miss I've ever seen in this stadium.
So
what's
where the boy touches it wide.
So I sit in Lisbon line, so I'm right behind it, right? And I'm like, here we go. Carter Vickers goes across. Carter Vickers goes across, right? And the ball, he ends up going, and I'm thinking he's going to ping it into that corner, but he ends up cutting it back. Proper FIFA sweaty goal, right? And I'm like, gee.
He would have finished it at Celtic.
He almost takes a touch, but his touch is too heavy, and then he goes for it. He stops because he thinks, it's going in anyway, and then he goes for it again, and by that time it's gone. And I'm telling you, everybody, he is going to have PTSD. Honestly, a guy's going and laughing at his face. I know they're through and we're not, right? So it's my small chuckle that I can take with this group. But I don't know how he's missed. That is the biggest miss I've ever seen at Celtic Park. I've never seen anything worse than that.
Aye, it was a bad one, and that was a let-off for us.
I was just going to say, see the shape like you were mentioning there? Like, I actually thought it worked to a point. In the first half, I thought the game plan, you could see it was quite clear. Just before we came on the mic, me and you had a big disagreement about Matt O'Reilly. I thought in the first half he took the ball in well, he retained the ball really well, because that's a key thing in Europe is ball retention. And I think we've got loads of players that can do that. I think his decision making was wrong a few times, and I think he had a few shots when he should have passed it and things like that. But they're things that you can develop in time, and I think that's a player there that we've got that we can build with. I think we've got a few of those, but I think what we need to do is we need to see that coaching development happen now. We've seen it accelerate from last year to this somewhat. I think we need another big jump again.
Listen, I think they can all develop. Most of them are under 24, so there's a lot of development. It's the first time they've ever been exposed to football at this level, so there is growth in them, Callum. But that's the challenge for them, because throughout this group stage we've played 5 games. The final games in Madrid against the European champions, they've seen it, and they've seen how difficult it is to step up and compete at this level, and that's the challenge. We've talked about it throughout the full group stage. I think we need to be better mentally next season, because we've seen it and we're used to it. I think maybe it was overawing for some of the players going through the group stage, but that's the growth you're looking for. In 12 months' time they'll be better footballers, but also they should be better prepared mentally to face that level again.
That's why I'm probably disappointed tonight, because I wanted that growth, but maybe I've wanted it too quick.
In terms of a win, you wanted to see
I wanted to see the 3 points go right. That's where we are. Next season we come back, we win the league. Next season we come back and we try and get 6 points this time or 7 points this time, get out at some sort of a level. That's the decision making is key. The first goal, we'll talk about the first goal. The ball goes out to Haksabanovic. He gets down, beats his man, I think he cuts back. He drills a beautiful ball across, causes absolute mayhem.
Ricochet.
Shakhtar are very poor at defending. As soon as we get the goal, Celtic don't do it once again. It's just like, pass it out wide, we'll cut back, let's go back to Juranovic, let's go back to Hart. It's these key moments in games where intensity, Shakhtar smelt, went, just step up and we'll get them. And Celtic, when Ange spoke about it in Germany, and he says, we passed the ball to the goalkeeper, to Joe, we'd pass it back, and we thought it was the good thing to do, the safe thing to do. In reality, you were actually giving up possession. In reality, you were allowing the momentum to shift and to go to Shakhtar and off of us, and you're then conceding that period in that moment. We have to be more streetwise, as you say, clever we need to be clever on moments of, if Hatate's knackered, right, I'm knackered, I ain't going to bust my ass to get across the other side. I'll take my time and I'll reserve my energy when is the right moment to pick my time and when is the right moment. I felt tonight it was way off between they two. Hatate and O'Reilly had a massive job, and I get that they're young, but they had a huge job tonight to try and get in against Stepanenko and control him, because he is a very good player. He plays for Ukraine, he done very well against Scotland as well. He is a good player, but they two need to get to that level where they need to realise when to go and when to stay, when to give the ball and when to keep it, and just keep it a little bit and keep it away from Shakhtar, get them moving. I felt we had to chase a lot more than they did tonight.
I think they were inexperienced tonight. I think you saw when, for all that, a lot of fans were getting frustrated because they just wanted to see that killer ball or that ball into the box. When Aaron Moy came on, I thought there was a bit of poise about the way that he kind of tried to do things. I thought he showed his experience. I think James Forrest did as well, right? For all that they didn't create that much, I think what they did do is they brought those experienced heads on and a sense of composure in the occasion. Because that's the thing, it's the environment, it's the challenge of playing at this level. And I think, to be honest, it's just daunted Celtic a wee bit too often, and that's why we're coming away from the group with 2 points, unless we get a miracle in Madrid.
You never know, eh? Nothing to play for, really, Callum.
Maybe
some points and money, but it's just a party now, isn't it?
Beer pong, play for that. That's the only thing. I mean, we're all obviously going. It'll be obviously my first trip away and all, so I'm looking absolutely forward to it. Even though we're still out, I'm a big fan of Madrid as well, so I've been there before, and it's an unbelievable stadium. So I think it's your first time going to Bernabeu. Unbelievable place, and when you go, you're going to you'll fall in love with it. It's just a football iconic theatre, we'll call it. So I'm looking forward to it. That's why I'm a bit burst and gutted that we've not got something to play for. Reality is we're not going to get in my opinion. But we'll still go cheer the boys on. But the reality would have been nice if we could have got something here tonight and just went with a bit of hope. But no, it's just Just having a party,
Aye, that's it.
Can I do something you're not meant to do just before we finish? I was a bit disappointed with the atmosphere at times tonight, and I was a bit disappointed with the amount of fans that left before the final whistle. I understand that people have commitments and work, and it's a late night and all that, but I think the amount of fans that I saw leaving the stadium tonight was a bit disheartening.
Can we just? I know it's going into a bit of debate here, right? But Kyogo went off and Giakoumakis stayed on, and I'm thinking, Giakoumakis must be number one.
And then he pulled up.
Mate, I know.
I thought he pulled his hamstring for a minute.
I know. See, if we're talking about taking chances quickly as well, Kyogo has a great chance in the second half.
He's so low in confidence, mate.
And he almost looks like he needs an arm around him and pulled out for 2-3 weeks, relax, get back to what you're good at, because he is a fantastic player, he is. I just prefer Giakoumakis because something sticks to me with him, that's fine. Kyogo's a brilliant, fantastic player as well, but he looks as if he's really, really low, and that's the difference. Is we've had chances at every level, at every game, we just haven't been clinical enough, and the progress bar of where we'll look at is next year when we win the league again this year, when we get into Champions League again, is we have to improve. There has to be some sort of improvement, because if there's not, these players are then not cut out for it, and when we need to get stronger. And spoke about it as well, he's already recruiting people now for January. Hopefully he needs one or two a little bit older heads, if you want. I know Moyes one, but he needs somebody, maybe a 27, 28-year-old that's not at the pinnacle but not too young. I mean, Moyes in the 30-odd, so he's experienced, but he needs legs as well. Moyes don't really get legs. If he had legs, Moyes would be a fantastic player. I think Celtic are crying out for somebody like that, because Hatate and O'Reilly and usually McGregor, they three can't always play at every game in Europe. You have to have somebody maybe like, I don't know, a Wanyama or Sangare from PSV, somebody like that type of mould that can break up a game and be nasty at times, to break it up and get that moment back going, I've got my breath back, right, let's go again. You need that, and that's where we need to go. But overall, it's not a defeat. So
I think it's early in the cycle, and there will be more recruitment to come. I think there's improvements that can be made to the squad, but that's to come. That's for another night. There you go. That's it for full-time reaction here at Celtic Park. Like this video, comment with your own thoughts on the game below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you on Saturday for the build-up to that game against Livingston. Cheers.